Pawn h2 to h4.
Pawn g7 to g5.
Pawn h4 takes g5.
Pawn c7 to c6.
Rook h1 takes h7.
Rook h8 takes h7.
Pawn g2 to g4.
Pawn c6 to c5.
Bishop f1 to h3.
Rook h7 takes h3.
Knight g1 takes h3.
Pawn a7 to a5.
Pawn f2 to f4.
Pawn c5 to c4.
Pawn f4 to f5.
Queen d8 to c7.
Pawn a2 to a3.
Queen c7 to g3.
Knight h3 to f2.
Queen g3 takes f2.
King e1 takes f2.
Pawn e7 to e6.
Pawn f5 takes e6.
Pawn d7 takes e6.
Pawn e2 to e4.
Bishop f8 takes a3.
Pawn b2 takes a3.
Pawn b7 to b5.
Pawn g5 to g6.
Pawn f7 takes g6.
Queen d1 to e2.
Knight b8 to d7.
Queen e2 takes c4.
Pawn b5 takes c4.
Knight b1 to c3.
Knight g8 to e7.
Pawn a3 to a4.
Pawn e6 to e5.
Bishop c1 to a3.
Knight e7 to f6.
Bishop a3 takes e7.
Knight f6 takes g4.
King f2 to f3.
King e8 takes e7.
Knight c3 to d5.
King e7 to f7.
Knight d5 to b6.
Rook a8 to b8.
Knight b6 takes c4.
Knight g4 to f6.
Knight c4 takes a5.
Knight f6 takes e4.
King f3 takes e4.
Pawn g6 to g5.
King e4 takes e5.
Rook b8 to b5.
Pawn a4 takes b5.
Bishop c8 to f5.
King e5 takes f5.
Pawn g5 to g4.
King f5 takes g4. Black wins.